there it is. Okay, John Cathcart.
While they're doing that, the Sergeant Major will collect his money.
We're not surprised.
Well, while we're thinking about collecting money, I think I need to talk about the law of unintended consequences. I came up here thinking that I was going to talk about my book and talk a little bit about the People's Choice Award, and it occurs to me the unintended consequence is something that's happening tonight, and that has happened to me this year, and it started going to a wedding. I retired about 10 years ago, did my 20 years in the Air Force, and went to a wedding and sat down with a bunch of, they seemed really young, and I don't feel like I'm old enough to call guys coming back from combat as young, but they are young, and we get into, then I listened to Jerry Yellen talk about his book, and I'm sure he thinks I'm really young now, so it's a generational kind of thing, and I'm drawn back to the unintended consequence. I could have talked about my book and me and more, and I find myself thinking about us and why we're here. And so I'm just going to talk real quickly about what this organization has meant to me over the last couple of months. Back in July of last year, I finished a book, and I needed a way to market my book so I could be rich and famous. So far, neither one is working out very well. And so I figured, let's find some place in the Military Writers Center. Let's try this one out. I talked to a couple of folks, and wow, this might work. Let's see, give them a try, and I'll do a review, and then I'll be rich and famous. Oprah, movie, it's all going to happen, and that's kind of what I was thinking. And I found myself talking to Joyce, and I said, you know, in addition to maybe plugging my book or whatever, maybe I could help out on the website. And the next thing you know, I'm the webmaster. And so, and unintended consequences. I started off trying to be rich and famous, and I'm being enriched by the experience of knowing you folks. And I think we, getting to know each other, it's mutual. We all kind of feel we're talking about World War II, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and back to that wedding, I found myself, I'd forgotten 10 years ago, the military was in the past. I'm an airline pilot now, I don't do the military stuff, and it was a chapter in the past. And all of a sudden, I found myself looking at those guys and thinking, man, that was me only 10 years ago, maybe 20. But that's the connection that we have here. And so, yes, we're all here trying to be rich and famous, to market our books and to share, but also I think the sharing part is really what I'm finding to be much more important. So the law of unintended consequences is just listening to war stories and that emotion and thinking about what really ties us together, and it's in our title. It's military. We've all got different sides of the story, and I'd been, you know, okay, to me it's shooting a watch, talking fighter pilot stuff, and then, you know, drug stuff that I did in my military career, but all of a sudden I'm doing reviews and I'm reading about Vietnam, and since I read Bright and Shining Lie, I hadn't really thought about Vietnam, and now I'm listening to and reading guys pouring their souls out in a book. I didn't expect that. That's not what I signed up for. I signed up to be rich and famous. But no, I'm getting much more out of this, and I think all of us do. We're sharing in experiences, and so that's really what I'm bringing out of this experience. And so I wanted to pull in a plug for the MWSA. I wanted to thank Bill. I don't know if Bill is here. There he is, our founder. Joyce, our president now, and all the folks that are working. I did not plan on doing this, and it's one of these things, you do a little bit of work and you end up getting a lot more out of it than you expect, and that's the unintended consequence for me with MWSA. And then all of you out here in the audience, I don't need to plug my book to you, I need to remind you of why we're here. The M, military. Writers, some of us, we have musicians too, so the writer part isn't really all that good, but society, because we share that M, and most importantly for me, the A, America. I love this country, and those of us who've been in the military have a special love that a lot of us in our country now kind of don't realize. I had somebody recently tell me, I talked about a friend of mine was Colonel so-and-so. He said, well, isn't that pretentious saying Colonel? I was like, I can't know. In the military, when someone is a colonel, you call him Colonel. And it's just the way we are. And here, those of us in this room, we understand that, but a lot of our country doesn't. So anyway, just a quick plug. not for my book, but for this organization. So that's all I have. Thanks for